Happy Friday, and thanks for tuning into radiofreerhinecliff.org and this show in particular. Correct me if I'm Norm. I'm your host, Norm, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight with OK Fox, a.k.a. Oscar.
That's right.
How's it going? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, why are you excited to be here? Your mom was here.
Yeah, I did grow up really close to here, and it is kind of tough to be back in this neighborhood. A lot of memories, weird ones, but I love the radio, and I think your show's delightful.
Well, thank you. Why is it tough to be back here? And by here, you mean Rhinebeck or greater Rhinebeck vicinity or Rhine Cliff in particular?
Oh, all of it. Yeah. Lots of memories of the docks over here.
No.
Yeah, I do.
You're too young to have memories of the...
Nope, got lots of memories of the docks.
What happened at the docks?
That's where we'd all go to smoke and drink, and there was a drug house near here that we'd all hang out at and listen to Pink Floyd and whatever. Shout out to Billiam and Jason. I loved them. I think I went, had a lot of really great memories there. Could have been a lot worse, honestly. But it was a weird place to grow up in a lot of ways, but I'm really thankful to it as well. I definitely have some harder associations with Rhinecliff, but I also really beautiful ones on the water here. It
is ridiculously beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
You were a teenager here.
Yes, I was.
Which changes everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why it's so fucking hard to be a teenager, like anywhere, for most people.
Yeah, for sure. And it was different, Rhinebeck, when I was a kid, the public school was like, it's a great public school, but I hear now that it's gone from 120 kids a class to 30 kids a class, and
right.
It's a lot different. And yeah, I think it's, back then it was a little rougher, but not that much rougher. It was still very wealthy in a lot of ways too.
Right. But back to you saying it's tough to be here. I've met you here and I've seen you here a couple of times, I guess. So it's not so tough that you don't come back once in a while.
It's just, it's a little strange. Like when I've built a life for myself in the city, and the city has really embraced who I needed to be.
Right.
I don't think I had the resources to transition when I was young, for example.
What kind of resources?
There wasn't mental health care. There wasn't.
For starters, a good thing to have.
I remember, it being tough to even go to the regular doctor, at times. That Obamacare changed a lot.
Right.
I think, made it easier to get the kind of stuff I needed when I was in college.
Right.
But I would have loved to have transitioned younger.
And at what point did you think, this is not really my gender? I'm supposed to be the other thing.
Well, it's funny, because growing up, I was classic, tomboy. I was classic, catcher of the softball team, and
right.
I remember once we got to pick our seats in 4th grade, and I chose two of my guy friends, and my guy friends chose me, and then there's one girl who was the odd girl out who had to sit with us, kind of, because there was every other gender sort of seating.
Right.
And I felt so bad for her because she didn't get to sit with whoever.
She didn't get to sit with the girly girl.
Yeah, she's at a table with us, stuff like that. I always had guy friends, and
which is not really. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it seems like that would not necessarily lead somebody to think I'm the wrong gender.
I think it was, yeah.
Or not wrong, but...
I didn't have the language for it. It wasn't that sort of thing. I was I want to dress like a boy and whatever. And I identified with, queer people. I remember watching the very first episode of Drag Race as it aired, like,
Right.
you know, and like was really into like drag and like Tom Rubowitz clips on YouTube, or like I was really into J-Rock, and there was a lot of like drag in J-Rock, and finding like stuff like that, and anime. There's a lot of like gender nonconformity and cosplay and anime.
Right. And so how did that make you feel seeing this stuff out there?
That I was always gravitating to. So I was always gravitating to cosplaying men, and
Right.
and working through that like in art, and it was clearly something that I talked a lot about as a kid at different points, but
Right.
there just wasn't quite the language for it. And I remember working at the Star Library,
Right.
and meeting Rachel Pollack, who was the first trans person I remember meeting.
Wow.
And she left a huge impact on me. I remember giving my bosses a hard time because they would like say rude comments about her.
No way.
Yeah, I remember giving them a hard time because I'm like, oh, I think she's awesome. Like, I don't know. It's like
And she was there reading from her book or something?
she was just, she lived on the bottom of the hill, and she would just come up and get books all the time. And
Right.
and then I read her obituary when she passed away, and she was she wrote a lot about tarot, and in particular the Handel deck, which is a really cool deck that I recently got a friend of mine.
Oh, cool.
And I think that was very spiritually like aligned to meet her as one of the first like known trans people that I met.
Right. And so, I guess when did you decide, like, yeah, that's not me, this is me? And
It took me a long time. I was really I really wanted to be like I still am. I am a misandrist.
you're what?
I'm a misandrist. I
Well, please tell, what is that?
the opposite of a misogynist. I prefer, I am a, like, more so than a feminist. I am anti-men and anti-patriarchy, like in a lot of ways, and prefer like the superiority of women in a lot of ways.
Right.
But
Which is just rich.
I know.
You know?
I know.
It's like, you're the
Well, I
superior
am a
women,
clown,
but
so-
I'm not gonna be a woman. I'm gonna be a man, which I don't like. And
Well, that was like my problem, I think, too, is I was like, I want to show that like women are just like the same. I think I was kind of more like gender neutral or something, or like
Right.
like I was gender nonconforming. And I still consider myself like also non-binary. Like, why not have multitudes? Why
Right.
be stuck into one thing? But I prefer this like kind of like when I was making art in college, I started going by okay because I didn't want people to gender my artwork at all.
Right.
I wanted them to just read it as it was.
What's the genesis of okay?
It's literally my given initials.
Your given initials. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a much nicer phrase than one we were using earlier. So you were born with those initials, and then
Yeah, my dad always thought it would be cute for me to go by OK as like a sort of pen name, and it's kind of a tribute to name my parents gave me but yeah, without it being so gendered.
right.
Yeah.
And so where were you in college?
I was pretty early in college when I started going by OK.
Right.
Yeah.
And where was college?
Oh, SUNY Purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a great art museum and great art
Yes, the
department.
Newberger,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I worked at the library. I worked in the Visual Resource Center,
Right.
which was a job that was awesome. It was like doing a lot of like slide preparation for professors and stuff.
Right.
I like that sort of like library archival work stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you do any of that now?
I was working at a bookstore up until recently. But yeah, I've been on unemployment for a bit, and that's been really nice. but I'm a zine maker and I'm a printmaker, so
Right.
I'm always around books and libraries and archives.
Right.
I a lot of my friends are similar.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many do you have, like, recurring zines that come out, that you try to come out every month or every week or
I guess I kind of
every
I
quarter?
feel like I feel like I do like maybe one zine a year sort of thing.
Right.
I've been doing a lot of poetry lately. I'll do like more prints, and I do like kind of ceramic jewelry. Like I'm wearing this one.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I this ceramic artist Lee Masterson lets me use his studio in Times Square.
Right.
He's got a great studio.
Where in Times Square?
It's like, well, it's not quite Times Square. It's like 39th and 8th Ave.
Right.
Yeah, it's great. I've been his assistant on and off since like 2012.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds nice. So in art school,
Yeah.
SUNY Purchase, what were you studying? Did you
Printmaking.
Okay.
Yeah, but I did a lot of multimedia work.
Right.
I did a lot of classes in new media.
Right.
I was very interested in technology, and then I ended up writing my undergrad thesis about the kind of tenuous relationship that artists have with tech companies, like the Apple or Adobe, having them as collaborators, and the kind of like pitfalls of giving so much of our tools to these private companies,
Right.
and not having enough control over them. So I'm a big proponent of piracy for
Oh, wow.
and open source, and like keeping our tools accessible and free,
Right.
and not being beholden to these big tech companies.
Let me just play devil's advocate here, and I'm
Right
with
up.
you on that in general. But I fucking love Photoshop. Like,
Oh.
what an amazing tool! I use that all the time.
Right.
I happen to have an
too.
old version
Yeah,
that don't
the
have
old-
to pay every month for,
And that's how it should be.
and it's just amazing. But I don't begrudge them, that their copyright on that.
Well, so they switched to this subscription model that
I do begrudge them that.
it gets more and more expensive, and they extract more and more from us. So they use all these AI tools that are extractive, right?
Right.
They take and steal intellectual property, or if you want to call it that,
Right. Sure.
from regular people, regular artists, and they use them to train their learning models in these big, fucked up, like processing plants that use an exorbitant amount of energy that's destroying the planet. And
Right.
people like in the Trump administration have been scaling back regulation of companies like this.
Right.
And it absolutely, that MIT just came out with a study that 95% of these AI companies are failing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it's like it's like the way in the light is is against the expansion of big tech. It has to be regulated. It
Right.
absolutely does, because it's just absolutely scaling at this completely out of control rate. And I think I was onto something in my silly little undergraduate artist statement of a thesis about that like being beholden to big tech. I do consider myself a neo-Luddist.
A neo-Luddite?
Yeah.
Okay. So that there goes my next question, whether you use AI in the creation of any of your art.
Oh no, I think it's abhorrent. I truly think it's abhorrent.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you use Photoshop or any of these other
I do, but I'm like you. I use really
Design
old versions that
Right.
don't, or pirated versions that don't,
Right.
aren't connected to AI models.
Right.
And I try to learn open source alternatives like GIMP or Affinity, or like, which is just a you pay once for it.
Right. Which is how it used to be, and I love
Right.
that model.
No, totally. I mean, that is how it, like, there's they just get greedy, they just get greedy, and they have to, they have to grow and grow and grow every quarter, like instead of having a more regulated cycle that is sustainable.
Right.
I don't know. There has to be regulation, or else it's going to destroy the planet.
Right.
There's no way about they talk about carbon offsets and stuff like that. That stuff doesn't work. It
Yeah,
doesn't work like that.
I don't sort of think so either.
No.
Carbon offsets. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's a nice idea if you're like going on a plane somewhere to maybe do less of something else, and
For sure.
and if you can buy carbon offsets, and so somebody else does less of something else, and you. But yeah, it's tough to really feel like that's making a positive impact.
No, the only way is like through very like regulated, structured, like slowing down the rapid growth.
Which does not seem likely to happen.
Which is only growing for the very, very, very 1%. Like, it's not growing for us. Like
Right.
the median person life is not getting better. Life expectancy is going down in the United States.
I know, it's insane.
So it's not even like helping anybody. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not even in the. Even yeah. It's There's no trickle down. That shit doesn't make sense. It's not working.
It doesn't trickle down. No, and everybody says that. All the economists say that. I even read an article in the Wall Street Journal once saying, yeah, no, that shit's not trickling down.
No.
So, but still, it's a story that lots of people tell and lots of people buy.
Yeah, because it's that 1% who owns most of the media, and that's like the narrative that they want to put out there.
So sad. Well, so back to junior high and high school.
Oh yeah, Rhinebeck, Rhinecliff, my trauma.
Yay!
I love it.
Does it feel like that when I say let's go back there? It's like, oh fuck, let's.
I mean, yes, it was rough. A lot of my friends were addicted to heroin. Like, it was like a crazy place. It was
Right.
like not. Like, I'm glad I avoided it. I avoided a lot of it.
You avoided the addictions.
Oh yeah. I was not. I avoided drugs and drinking for the most part. Like, because I just kept watching people get too fucked up, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna read manga all day and work at the library.
Right. Well, good for you.
I know.
That's amazing. What a stroke of good fortune. Right? I mean, because it's tough when you're like, whatever, 16 to
Yeah.
make smart decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really lucky. I spent a lot of time at in the library, at Upstate Films, at the pool. Like,
And did you know at that point that you wanted to be an artist?
oh, I always wanted to be an artist. There was no
Right.
not being an artist. It was always like my parents would be like, "Can't you do literally anything else?" And I'm like, I won't ask you guys for anything. I'll live in a hovel. I used to say, I'll live in a hovel, and I will
Create.
just live really cheap and find a way to do this. There's no other way I can be. I knew I had the language of wanting to be an artist before the language of wanting to be trans. But I think it's similar and related.
Well, that language was out there and well worn
Yeah.
and well publicized. People wrote about that. People didn't really write about being trans as much way back when.
Yeah, and I knew about drag. I
Right.
learned in theater.
Sure.
And somewhere along the way, I knew there was like alternative like ways of expressing yourself through clothing, and I always like kind of dressed different.
Yeah.
Like either like a boy or like crazy fashion. I was really into Harajuku fashion.
What is that?
It's like a Japanese neighborhood, or it's a neighborhood in Tokyo.
Right.
When I was a kid, that like these like really colorful, super layered, avant-garde like fashion. I loved thrifting.
And where did you first get exposed to Harajuku fashion?
So the internet was really important to me growing up. That's like the first anime I watched was, I don't know, like maybe Pokemon, but like probably Sailor Moon was left such a huge impact on me.
I don't know that.
Sailor Moon is an incredible anime about these girls that transform into guardians of the galaxy, kind of, and they're each assigned a different planet. And they're different zodiacs, and like it's all really fun, and like it's they're all really high fashion. The creator, the manga creator, she was really inspired by like a lot of fashion magazines and stuff, and was always putting the character, like just these incredible character designs that were like just so beautiful.
Right.
And it was easy to get really hooked on like Japanese culture because there's these genres they're called shoujo, or like there's queer genres, like there's shonen which is like boys love, which is like gay comics.
Shonen.
Yeah. And
do you know this band Shonen Knife?
Yes, I know Shonen Knife.
Okay.
Yes, I want to go see them. They're playing soon.
Oh, they are? Oh
yeah.
my god.
But yeah, the Sailor Moon like was my first like shoujo anime that I watched, or the other one was maybe Card Captors Sakura, which is originally made by this all women manga group called Clamp, who is also super into avant-garde fashion.
I like that name.
Yeah, they're an amazing collective. They did a lot of really amazing manga that I grew up obsessed with. I got so obsessed with manga because I loved comics and cartoons. And in Japan, there's these genres for women and girls that didn't exist in Western comics, really. Like Western comics was always so chauvinistic, so misogynistic, so
right.
Kind of inaccessible. I mean, I did like it too, and I liked a lot of like edgelord Vertigo shit, Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, like shit. But when I was really young, I gravitated to shoujo manga, and vintage shoujo manga in particular is super queer, super trans, had all of these gender nonconforming characters.
Okay, do me a favor. What does that mean when you say super queer? What does that mean?
Just like, it's got gay themes, it's got trans themes.
Right.
There's lesbians, there's gay people.
So what's your definition of queer?
Queer is LGBTQ. It's like it's outside normative structures. It's outside heteronormative, cisnormative structures.
Right.
So it's got like an element outside of like patriarchal nuclear family type narratives.
Right.
I gravitate more towards that. It's an alternative way of being.
Right.
I'm a queer liberationist as opposed to a queer assimilationist.
Oh, okay.
If you want to get into theory about
We've
it.
got half an hour left. Let's get through those two ideas. Queer as assimilationist versus a queer abolitionist?
Or abolitionist or liberationist.
Oh, liberationist.
Yeah,
okay.
Either one. I mean.
So what do those two things mean?
So a liberationist would be like out like wanting to liberate people from cis heteropatriarchal
right.
Norms and structures.
Right.
No pun intended.
And none taken.
And an assimilationist would be like the trans lady who works for the Air Force. It's you're assimilating into
right.
A capitalist structure that is benefiting you personally at the expense of other marginalized people, including your own fellow queer people.
Right. So the assimilations are sellouts.
In a way, yeah.
Right.
I guess that's fine to say. I mean, sometimes you have to sell out for. You're forced to, or whatever. It can be complicated. I'm not trying to minimize. But,
but then now it makes me wonder, like, when are the times that you've sold out?
I really try not because it can be really difficult. I worked for Artform magazine for a long time.
Art Forum?
Yes, I did.
Right. And who was Knight Landsman there?
Yes, and he
yeah.
was very publicly
Talk about, yeah.
that happened while I was there. So
Okay.
that was
Leave that. Fill us in. What was that
so
made him went from famous to notorious?
I'm gonna drink this vodka. Hold on.
Yeah. Is that what this is? Vodka? This is a delicious cocktail you brought us. Thank you so much.
Of course, yeah, watermelon, herbs, vodka. Yeah. So, Artform magazine during the Me Too era,
Right.
very early on in it,
Yeah.
had a huge high-profile sexual harassment and assault case that I was working at the front desk during at the time, and somebody who had been working in my former position was suing the magazine.
Wow.
And
And especially Knight.
Yes,
was
Knight.
was he the
publisher, the main
Okay.
publisher of the magazine,
Right.
the face of the magazine, pretty
Yeah.
much. And the other publishers stood by him, and the workers rose up, including myself. We fought back and were like, you can't do this. Like, this is wrong.
Right.
And eventually ousted him, but the whole magazine was fucked after that. Like, the editor-in-chief resigned, a bunch of people resigned. I really wanted to leave, but was too afraid to leave for financial reasons, but then was eventually pushed to quit. A lot of people who were agitating for a union, like I was, were
Right.
pushed to quit.
Right.
And I think it's really a shame, because I think if the magazine had unionized back in 2017 or when this was, I think David Velasco wouldn't have been ousted for his stance on Palestine, his morally correct position on Palestine. And he would still be there, and maybe the magazine would still have been independent and not sold to Penske Media. So I think I remember talking to, was it Harvard School of Journalism journal at the time or something like that, about like what all went down there.
Right.
I think like I regret that we didn't agitate harder. I regret that we didn't organize better, and that we didn't keep the magazine independent.
Right. And how do you think you could have agitated harder? And for anybody who's like hasn't done, this was Artform, which was
Yeah.
the preeminent art magazine, reporting on art and the art market and artists' creations and
Yeah, and it was really
thoughts.
important to queer artists. Like, kept a lot of important queer people like employed and given regular paychecks, and is now been privatized and is slowly being destroyed, and it's and zapped of its free speech,
Right.
and the works, but yeah, it's tough. I think at the time people weren't as ready to unionize. The unions weren't expanded enough to catch us. Like, we were trying, but nobody was getting back to us to help us.
So this is the people who worked there, like
Yeah.
you, talking to unions,
Yeah.
saying, take us in,
Yeah,
help us out.
yeah. Like,
And what were the unions that would have done that?
there was at the time there was like the Writers Guild and
Gotcha.
like the News Guild, I think, and
Right.
And MoMA very interestingly has always been unionized with UAW.
Really?
Isn't that funny?
That's
Since
nuts.
the 70s, yeah.
The United Auto Workers.
Yes, exactly. And UAW actually, a little after that, maybe like a year after this Artform fiasco, started expanding into like grad student unions and museum unions and
Wow.
more stuff like that. So I think UAW is like, we're just a little too early for that capacity shift
Right.
that could have caught us.
Right.
We just didn't have enough resources.
Right.
My salary was $32K a year.
Right.
Then they expected me to be there for over 40 hours.
Right. Which sounds dismal, but also in the publishing world, in the art world,
So
it's like, oh,
normalized.
wow, look at you. You're making a healthy salary.
No, I mean, my fucking dad at the time was like, "Oh yeah, don't quit." And his wife was, she's awesome. She was like, "What are you talking about? No, get out of there."
Love that. Now, your dad, you bring up your dad. I met him once or twice.
Yeah.
And he was at one point a manager of
Buckwheat Zydeco.
of bands.
Yeah.
And a promoter and stuff.
Yeah, he
So-
wrote a book on the Apollo Theater, which is really cool.
Right. So he was
Yeah.
in the arts in that
No,
way.
that's what's so funny about my parents. They both did weird odd jobs my whole life, and then they're like, "Get a real job."
Yes.
Don't do
That's
it.
what I ask. And they're like, literally anything other than being an artist. What the fuck? It's like, you did it, Dad. And Mom's a huge supporter of the arts.
No, I know. It's just like it's always and it's funny
It's
too.
like good for somebody else's kid.
Oh no, of course. And like and my mom was always such a fag hag growing up. We always had all these like gay friends and lesbian like godparents and like
Right.
all this stuff. But then it's like, oh, you're transitioning. Oh, it's dangerous. Oh, don't do it. Like, oh, like
Well, I mean, honestly, I mean, a parent's concern for their child's welfare, and especially now. I mean, I just read today, like some Trump shit in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or something, like subpoenaing records from this hospital.
I know, I read that
about
too.
who received gender-affirming health care. What are
They're
they going to
trying
do
to
with that?
oust.
Nothing good.
Yeah, luckily they can't. It is like, it is. It's just it's like a fake because it's totally illegal to hand over hospital records.
Right, the HIPAA
yeah,
stuff.
but it's to threaten the doctors into providing. They want to pressure the doctors to drop the patients.
Right.
And similar to like them coming down on heavy on the abortion doctors.
Right.
To get them to stop practicing abortions. It's brutal, and it's like, it transition saved my life, full stop. Like it was so like I was like mentally it was so difficult to like parse stuff and like
Parse being a girl.
like
In-
well, for sure it was like once I got on testosterone, it like I stopped getting like insane mood swings. Like, and I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and testosterone cured that.
Okay.
Like stuff like that. Like, and that's very, very common actually.
Right.
For that to be a pre-existing thing for trans guys, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Like
Right.
it regulates. It's like physically and mentally, it's huge. It's like it's so much better. And I was like, and like I said, like I always thought, I think it's cool to be a bearded lady. I think it's cool to be like a pregnant man. I think it's cool to like to do things that are like outside of either any like traditional gender orientation. And so it was never that super important to me that I like immediately go from one to another. My transition was really slow. I started testosterone 10 years ago.
You started testosterone 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
And how has that been physiologically? Any side effects or?
no, it's only been good stuff. It only stabilized my mood, stabilized my physical debilitating hormonal imbalances.
Right.
Made it easier for me to process stuff mentally and be able to do things physically.
Right.
It's so much healthier for me to do it.
Right.
It's like any other medication, like, it
Right.
might be a real cure for real physical stuff. And people don't think about it that way. I've always said this for forever that more cis women should try low doses of testosterone.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they if it's curing this stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
So I wanted to say something for people listening. I'm here with OK Fox, aka Oscar Fox, and the conversations we're having might be helped out by visiting his Instagram page.
Sure.
And what's the Instagram name?
My drag one, my public one is Sexual Gumby.
Sexual Gumby.
Yeah.
That's not where I am.
Well, I have another one.
You don't have to share it if you don't want.
It's okay. It's on there too. I have another one that's called Fungus Boy, and then
Fungus Boy.
there's one for my podcast called Art and Labor Pod.
Okay. All right, Fungus Boy, and I forget the first one.
Yeah.
And I say this because if you go there, if you're a listener, dear listener, if you go there, you'll see all kinds of pictures of Oscar in various presentations and in his various ways of being.
Yeah. The Sexual Gumby persona is a really fun one.
I love that.
I've been
I love that
building
name,
out.
Sexual
Yeah.
Gumby.
I think it's so much fun.
You didn't grow up watching Gumby. You're
I
way
did.
too young.
I love Gumby, but I
Gumby.
was a little too young, but I really loved it.
And Pokey.
I love Pokey. I think Gumby's delightful. I mean, I loved the Muppets. I loved
Right.
Pee-wee. I loved all that stuff that was like a
Right.
little slightly above my generation,
Right.
but it was really influential on me.
Yeah. So you said when you were transitioning, was there a beginning and an end point for that?
I think something happened to me during COVID where I was given more time to like incubate on my own and not like worry about other people's expectations as much.
Right.
And then I was like, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna shave for like other people's sake, and I'm not gonna kind of code switch and
Not going to shave.
whatever. Like, well,
Right.
well, for the shaving stuff's interesting because that was always like my slow thing. Like in college, I stopped shaving my legs and armpits, and then I stopped shaving like my chin hairs and beard, and then
Right. And you got a nice healthy
Yeah.
beard.
I do, yeah, and I've been taking an extremely low dose of gel testosterone, so my transition has been incredibly slow because I was kind of scared off by people being like, oh, don't do it, like, oh, whatever. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do a small dose and see how I feel, and it's like, oh no, this is actually great, and it's like eliminated all my hormonal problems, and
Right.
I guess I don't need any more. It turns out I was born with a naturally high testosterone to begin with.
Interesting.
So
And is there any connection between that and people becoming trans male?
I do think so, because if you're, it's kind of it's on the border or is, depending on how people interpret it, as being an intersex condition.
Right.
So I was born with a similar condition as a lot of the women who are discriminated against in the Olympics.
Right.
For having like naturally
guess.
high testosterone, which is ridiculous. And, it's often women of color, but it's also a lot of Jewish people, a lot of
Really?
Ashkenazi Jewish people. Yeah.
Ashkenazi Jewish women who
Yeah.
have a propensity to have naturally high levels of testosterone.
Yeah, that's what I've read, but it's probably present in other cultures too. But that's,
Sure.
I was always really fascinated by women who were discriminated against in the Olympics. Like even before this was like a hot button issue.
Right.
I remember being like seeing them and being like, oh, that's me. They're like me,
Right.
and like they're it's fucked because it's like it's like there should be a way to be a woman and have hair if you want to be that.
Yeah.
I do identify with being a man though.
Right. Which is great.
Yeah.
And do you remember when you first thought, hey, wow, look, I'm a dude?
I think it was like after COVID, it just became like, yeah, there's no going back. I feel more like Oscar. Like I'm not this kind
Right.
of like, and I named myself Oscar after a manga too.
I love that. Oscar with a K.
Oscar with a K.
So you still have the O
That's the
and
OK.
the K.
Yeah. I named myself after Lady Oscar, who
Lady Oscar.
is a character in Rose of Versailles, which is a fictionalized version of the storming of the Bastille, where it's led by a woman guard named Oskar, who is raised like as a prince, even though she's a woman.
Right. Right. Love that. How perfect is that?
Yeah, I identify a lot with her like tenacity and that series and that revolutionary organization and formation and embodying that in your person too.
And you said there's no going back, which leads me to this question. And of course, just tell me you don't want to answer or whatever, but any surgeries?
Oh, I really want surgery, but I'm very broke. And
Right.
I'm pursuing it finally after avoiding it for a long time. Because I'm very particular about the top surgery I want is like one that's not normally super covered. And also I've always worked the type of jobs that it's hard to take off for like a month
Right.
and recover.
So I was not aware that there are different types of top surgery.
Yeah, there's like a regular mastectomy, and that's like the easiest one to get covered,
And
kind
that
of.
leaves you with a couple of scars. And,
Yeah, I want pinhole, which I might not be able to get. We'll see. I would like to get a type of surgery that maintains nipple sensation and
Yeah.
is more like natural looking, kind of.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think all types of surgery are cool.
That's funny. And that's especially interesting to me because, when I look at your Instagram pages, you seem to really celebrate your tits.
Yeah, I
And-
think it's cool. I think it's cool to have hairy tits. I think it's cool to free the nipple, and I think it's cool to be more openly sexual. I think it's cool to. I think all that is important.
So then why pursue the top surgery?
Just because I would like it.
And isn't that just it right there? Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Is that what we ended
No, I'm just kidding. But that's really it, because that's what I want. It's personal preference, and that's what I want.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not like super picky, or else I would have done it already.
We sound picky enough. You want the pinhole.
I
like,
gotta get
surgery.
the pinhole,
Yeah.
but I've been patient about it. I've been more patient than I probably should have been about it. I should have done it 10 years ago. I wish I did. I would have been easier.
Right. But then you won't be able to celebrate your breasts, your hairy breasts.
And they are fun, and they are interesting, and I like doing drag. Like, I like doing drag with them. I think it's fun. I'm a huge proponent of bald people. I love being a bald guy.
Bald?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm
Oh my God.
bald.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
He's taking off his hat. Bald in the front, ponytail in the back.
Yeah, I have like a psycho clownish hairstyle that I'm obsessed with. I think it's fun.
Psycho clownish. That's good. And so you shave some part of the front or side.
Yeah, I do like a little undercut, and then, but yeah, I like all my brothers are, I have 3 brothers, and my dad, we're all bald guys, balding guys, and yeah, I have a beautiful bald boyfriend. I think bald is beautiful, so I think like it would be cool to get like hair surgery. That is also a gender affirming care that cis people often pursue.
Right.
And I think it's cool to pursue that. But for me personally, I don't really mind being bald. I think it's fun.
Right. And also, it sort of it presents as being male.
Yeah, yeah, and it like plays with expectations. I like playing with expectations.
Clearly, I was just going to say, you seem to want to present this way, but at the same time, really not care about presenting any different way.
Yeah, I'm at peace. Like I've had to be at peace my whole life. So like that's like part of it is like learning to be at peace with certain things. But it's like there should be better surgeries. It should be easier and more accessible to get surgeries. It should be easier for trans men to get bottom surgery. It should be so much easier and safer and better tested than it is right now.
Right. I think the Trump administration is going to take care. I'll make those advances.
Well, Lord knows that she gets all of her gender affirming care. God, with her like tanning and hair products and
Yes.
such a fucking queen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just insane. So did you sit your folks down at one point and say, hey, I mean, you must have said, that's not my name anymore.
I've sort of like, I've been like, I prefer okay. I was using they, them pronouns forever, since college. And, I remember talking to them about like not adhering to gender and not believing in it and not really wanting to, adhere to a particular gender, feeling more at home with being non-binary. My ex was also on the non-binary spectrum, and that was something that we could kind of like just be like, yeah, it doesn't, this is, gender is not something that matters to us.
Right.
And that was like really a helpful way to like eventually get to like, I don't know, maybe like I do still identify as non-binary, but I prefer he, him pronouns at this point. But right. I like to go a step further now. I also like to use here pronouns.
Here?
Yeah, which I think is really fun. It's another like, it's more expansive universalist. I like identifying in here. Like
so I'd say
kind of hippie-ish way.
I'm here with here Fox.
Yeah.
Right.
It's fun to play with language. It's fun to play with expectation and challenge norms. I'm not trying to just assimilate into being a man. I'm doing other stuff.
Right.
I'm an artist. I'm challenging stuff.
Right. Well, let me just say on the pronoun front, when this stuff hit ages and ages ago, I suggested one.
Ooh.
Instead of they, them. And in British English and in French, they have a pronoun. It's, on or one. One doesn't do that. Yes. And it's specific to a singular entity, but not specific to any gender.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
One, I really like it. Here's a little complicated for me. But
that's the point.
But
make it hard. That's like my thing. It's like if they're gonna come for woke, I'm gonna do woke too.
Yeah, that's good. And is that reflected in your art?
Yeah, it is. Like a lot of my poetry has been like building out like there is a practice of history, which is trans history.
Right.
History. There's like a really good museum of trans art put out a great book that uses the word history.
Love that.
And I feel like I'm making work that's kind of referencing queer history or history. And are
these zines the media of your art?
Yeah. In zines and like in collages, in prints, and then video art as well. I do a lot of video art.
And if people wanted to, do you have a website with your art on it?
Yeah, it's okfox.org.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a .org.
That's good.
I don't know why.
Well, it's, expansive and not
my
as
organization.
specific. Yeah.
Universalist. I want to be an artist of the people. I want my art to belong universally to things. I don't want it to just belong to me.
And what are you working on right now? Follow-up question is, could you recite any poetry for us?
Oh, yeah, maybe I could pull one up on my phone that I was working on yesterday. It's not finished. I read on my podcast sometimes, too.
Well, tell us about your podcast while you're looking for... Oh, you found the bell?
I found it.
Oh, good.
This is the one I've been working on. It's not finished. It's called The Dreamer is Woke. Here's inventing landscapes in their magnetic field. It's like burrows, but computer. Working out a means of escape. Chaos fungorum feminum emeralds. I have a seer upstate, one in Milwaukee, and another in Santa Fe. The Joker is me voice. The dreamer is me. Here's saying I love you. Here's saying au revoir, mon cher. The Q55 watches here's perversions again and again. Reverse the target. Gentle trade overtakes rough in the fourth quarter. Another round around the corner. Magenta squishy creatures.
Oh my God, it's dense, right? How sweet. Well, thank you so much for reading that.
Yeah, no problem.
Lots of references in there.
Yeah, it's mostly in response to the band Coil. I've been making a lot of work in response to the band Coil lately.
I don't know this band.
They came out of like Psychic TV kind of, and Genesis Peorage, like that vein of things.
Right.
And they were their own group, and it was like these two insane gay guys making insane gay guy art.
Right.
That was like utilizing like spiritualism, and they traveled all around the world, and they made like insane like graphic like torture videos of themselves, and they were like all about like self-annihilation. So I'm interested in doing the reverse coil reversed, where it's about self-universalization and trying to dispel the dark because they ended up like kind of killing themselves. Like they were really dark.
Right.
Really, really transgressive, amazing artists that also worked with Hypnotic, that like built out Hypnosis, who did like the Pink Floyd album cover, or like really, really famous British ad agencies. They did all these ads for Pan Am, but there were also these extreme transgressive artists, like to the extreme.
Cool.
So yeah, my work lately, I've been doing reverse coil.
Love that. And again, it's okfox.org.
Yeah.
For if people want to go and watch your videos and look at your art.
Yeah, look at my drag and my zines.
Your drag,
Yeah.
which is you dressed up in various outfits.
Yeah, that's Sexual Gumby. That's my drag name.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I love that. and your drag work, let me take a shot here.
All right.
Is you, trans male.
Let's think about it.
Dressing as a woman. Is this, am I on the right track here?
I dress as all genders.
Right.
But
only one of them would be drag, wouldn't it? Or would any of them be considered drag?
Drag is expensive. People like to say drag kings,
right,
queens, and things.
Sure.
So there can be
drag things. I never heard that.
Yeah,
I
drag
like
things is a fun one, right?
Yeah.
Or drag creatures.
Good. It takes me to a slightly different place.
Yeah, it's just about playing with the self and playing with identities.
And do you perform much?
I do. I MC often.
Right.
Like I'll help book a show and then like kind of introduce the acts. And
right.
I'm not as like disciplined a performer, but I am good on the mic, and I can introduce a show.
Good on the mic. Which brings me to this. Tell us about your podcast.
Yes, it's become just a place to kvetch and bitch about kind of neighborhood politics.
What's your neighborhood?
Ridgewood, Queens, which has become a very popping artist neighborhood. It
sounds like a gay gang.
Well,
with the Ridgewood Queens, don't fuck with us.
Honestly, I wish it was more like that. I really do.
And
I really, really wish it was more like that. The Bushwick border is more like that, and I love my Bushwick border queens, but Ridgewood, it can be very heteronormative and stifling at times, but it's got a lot of great lefty weirdos in it and good artist freaks.
Right. It sounds like a good place to be.
It is, but it's getting very expensive and harder to live.
You gads. So, you're part of the cycle of gentrification.
For sure, as artists are. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
No, it sucks because you try to get a hook in a neighborhood and be able to stay somewhere. And, I got involved in my local tenants union years ago, like 8 years ago at this point, and was on and off in leadership and like trying to organize to keep rents low. And I was part of like the historic cancel rent campaign during COVID that like ended up helping a lot of people individually, but could have been a lot stronger and better.
Right.
And was very necessary to do.
And can community organizing be an art form?
I think it's like something that all artists should do.
Right.
And I think I think like doing collective art in community is really important. Like, making banners together and
Right.
like supporting each other's art in the community. Like that is all really important. I think social practices is like how a lot of institutions frame that sort of work.
Right. Now, I know your mom's very active politically. Your dad too?
Yeah, he has been. I don't know. Maybe I feel like he's getting more conservative. It's bad, but
It happens.
It
Some
does
people
happen.
grow older. They
well, he
often
had
change
commie
when they-
parents that kind of fucked him up, and so then he kind of spurns communism, I think, in turn. And it's like it's not the ideology's fault.
Right.
But it's, we were always going to the Iraq War protests. Those were huge, that were in the Rhinebeck town square every single Wednesday.
Right.
Every single Wednesday. And that's the type of consistency and discipline that we need to get back to. But I think our addiction to phones and technology is preventing us from, and like there's like this increased like fear and isolationism that's happening.
Right.
That needs to be dismantled.
And talking about increasing fear, I mean, we talked about
A lot of it's legitimate.
The Trump stuff, like
Yeah.
one of those records. Are you increasing your fear and like living as an
Nah.
openly trans person who has received gender affirming care?
I go so the opposite, where I'm like, no, I really like I said, if they're coming for woke, I'm doing woke too. I'm going further.
God-
I'm
God
being
bless
out
you.
there more. I think it's better. I think it's like, because I have the capacity to do that. Not everybody does. Not everybody's
Right.
documented or whatever.
Where do you get that capacity from?
I do. Yeah. I don't know. I do think that I do think that my mom was always a really bold person. Like, she challenged the Catholic Church when we were young, and like,
Right.
and that was, and emboldened me. Growing up with three brothers and the only girl,
Right.
emboldened me growing up.
Right. Yeah. Have you told your mom this, that, her example has helped embolden you in these important ways?
I think, yeah. I mean, I remember talking about the Iraq War stuff with her a lot, and
Right.
and like, that in particular was huge. Like,
Right.
doing that every single Wednesday.
Right.
That was like a real, like, going to church definitely fucked me up, and I think that was like really difficult. But then I do like having a kind of spiritual practice. So it's like, if your spiritual practice is doing anti-war stuff, that's like a lot more healthy, consistent community building.
Right.
I like that she does the food pantry now.
Right.
Like, that stuff's great.
Right. I love that definition of spiritual practice. And by the way, we're out of time.
Oh my
So it's a
God.
great place to leave it. Okay, Fox, Oskar, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, yeah, it went
everybody,
flew by.
thanks for tuning in. Have a fabulous Friday night and a great weekend. Thanks to Patricia Wind and our producers extraordinaire, Jen and Matt. Thanks again, okay? Everybody have a good time.
Norm.
Bye.
Wow.